Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to talk about the all-new 2024 Toyota Land Cruiser 250 series. So not the 300 series, not the 200 series, it's the 250. It's going to be kind of like a Land Cruiser Prado, but for the United States. So Land Cruiser has returned. It has returned in a very interesting way. So recently in the last few weeks, we saw the Lexus GX550 get released, which is the all-new version of an amazing car, the GX460, and I have the GX470, love it. So the GX was based previously on the Toyota Land Cruiser Prado. However, the new 2024 Toyota Land Cruiser, which will be built in Japan and not called the 300 series, which will still exist globally, this 2024 Land Cruiser will be based off of that Lexus GX550, but not have the twin-turbo V6 hybrid. In the United States, North America specifically, including Canada and Mexico, this car will include, or should I say truck, will include a 4-cylinder turbocharged hybrid system. This new engine will be the 2.4-liter turbocharged hybrid vehicle with a 326 horsepower engine and 465 pound-feet of torque. So a ton more torque than horsepower, which is really what you want in an off-road vehicle like this. It has a locking center differential, locking rear differential, and the top trims, it'll have a disconnecting front sway bar. I mean, this is massive, great for off-roading. The locking rear diff is huge because the 200 series most recently in the United States did not have that, only had a center locking diff. And you get Toyota Safety Sense 3.0, which means also electric power steering, but it means you also get the blind spot monitor, you get the lane keeping assist, rear cross traffic alert, automatic braking, all that good stuff, auto high beams, and you still get a 6,000 pound towing capacity with this 4-cylinder. Now, it also comes with a trailer brake controller built in, which is really great, and comes standard with an 8-inch touchscreen, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, but you can also jump up to a 12-inch touchscreen with Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and a full screen display for the instrument cluster, which is really nice. You can get it with cloth seats or leather seats. I love the leather because of the look. I love brown. However, the cloth seats seem to be out of like a woven, more durable material, which is nice to see as well in a Land Cruiser in the United States, which is very rare since previously we had only gotten the top trim of the Land Cruiser globally, which was the V8 with all the bells and whistles, you know, nice leather, nice everything inside, and it used to cost $95,000. But this new one, let me get to the price at the end. But you also can get dual climate control and triple climate control on the top trim where you have a rear climate zone, heated seats on all the trims, and there's 3 trims. So I've alluded to this earlier in the video, but there's multiple trims. There's a 1958, a Land Cruiser, and the First Edition. So it's a little confusing because the 1958 is the base trim, then it goes Land Cruiser as the mid-tier trim, and then the top trim is the First Edition. Obviously, the First Edition will be limited run. Only a few thousand of those will be made for North America, and I believe Canada gets maybe 3,000 or the UK gets 3,000. So not a ton. If you want one, go order one now. So a little bit more on the specs. So this runs on the TGNAF platform from Toyota, which is under the new Land Cruiser 300, the Lexus LX600, the GX550, the Sequoia, the Tundra, and on, right? And so this is their body-on-frame platform, and it is used globally. However, the Land Cruiser, like I mentioned, will be built in Japan and not North America like the Tacoma and the Tundra are currently. This new Land Cruiser will also only have 5 seats in the United States. Globally, it will have a 7-seat variant, and you can see that because there's actually cup holders in the rear above the wheel archers, but we don't get the 7-seat variant here. It's got a very boxy look, which I love. On the 1958 model, you get the round headlights, obviously an homage to that 1958 model and previous Land Cruisers, and all of them comes standard with full-time 4-wheel drive, which is of course a must for a vehicle like this. And you can option 33-inch tires, which is really cool to come factory, you know, on a Toyota. Toyota's usually more conservative with their vehicles, so to see this is great. And you can see a lot of ability to put on aftermarket parts, whatever you need. It seems that this car had that in mind when they were engineering it, and so a lot of the pieces of the car can be taken off very easily or are readily able to, you know, receive third-party goodies, right? Accessories, etc. And going back to the trim levels, the top trim will have a roof rack. It'll have, you know, all the goodies from the Land Cruiser trim and the 1958 trim, of course. So you'll get the locking diffs, you'll get the 33-inch tires, the disconnecting sway bar, you get a roof rack. You can get two-tone, so you can have like a white roof with a baby blue or kind of yellowish, tannish color, and it looks awesome. I think the design is great. It does lose the split tailgate. In place, it gets a vertical tailgate, a normal tailgate, but with an opening window in the back. My last point on the brand new Land Cruiser is that although we're getting only this version of the Land Cruiser in the United States, they'll all have the 4-cylinder 2.4 liter turbo hybrid. They'll all be full-time 4-wheel drive. They'll all be 5-seaters. The rest of the world will get different variants of this car. There'll be a 7-seater version, there'll be a 4-cylinder naturally aspirated version, a 4-cylinder turbo, a 4-cylinder diesel, and then of course a 4-cylinder turbo hybrid. So there are more options to be had if you're in other parts of the world like Australia and Eastern Europe or UK, Canada, etc. So it's very great to see that the Land Cruiser is still built in Japan, still a body-on-frame vehicle, still gonna be great off-road. It only gets better, honestly. And the price, well, $55,000 starting price. It's great to see that the Land Cruiser is coming down in price, but a lot of people will say like, oh, this is half the price of the previous Land Cruiser. Yes, that is right. However, this is not the 300 series. This is not the main Land Cruiser that the rest of the world gets currently, which has like a 2-year wait. But that car was going for $95,000 before it left the United States, the 200 series, the previous version of it. This is more closely related to the Toyota Prado. The Land Cruiser Prado is what the Lexus GX550 and 470 were based off of. So it's a bit smaller, and it still maintains all of the off-road capability, but in a cheaper, smaller form factor. It's not that much smaller because the wheelbase and the overall length of the vehicle, and width actually, are very similar to a current 300 series Land Cruiser. However, the body is actually a little bit narrower, so it has flared wheel arches which help with the width. So the actual body is smaller, and so it's a little deceiving when you say those specs, but to keep in mind with the price, it is half the price of the outgoing Land Cruiser, but it's also a little bit smaller. Obviously does not get a V8, it's a smaller engine, but overall I think it's going to be even more capable off-road than the outgoing one with all the goodies that we get. Disconnecting sway bar, locking rear diff, center diff, capability to put bigger tires without cutting. Like, it's great. So that's what I got on the new Land Cruiser. It was out. It was released in Salt Lake City, Utah, where I live, here at the Land Cruiser Heritage Museum. And I wish I could have been there, but obviously this channel's not big enough for me to be able to do that. So I'm just getting this information secondhand. But I hope you appreciate the info, and I will be ordering one of these. I wanted to make that point clear. I am a huge Toyota off-road fan, and so yeah, I just wanted to mention that as well. And I'll take you through the process of what that is actually like once it's time to pick it up, which is slated for spring of 2024. It is a 2024 model year vehicle. So thank you again for watching. Catch my other videos, like, subscribe, and we'll see you on Saturday.